1 minute ago, Oat Pasakorn condition takes a tragic turn. Back in coma. There are stories that lift us into the clouds, and there are stories that bring us crashing back to earth. Tonight, the world of fans, friends, and loved ones finds itself reeling from the cruelest twist yet. Because just as hope had begun to shine, just as the first sparks of recovery had begun to ignite, news is broken that Oat Pasakorn's condition has taken a devastating turn. Moments ago, doctors confirmed what so many feared but prayed they would never hear again. Oat has slipped back into a coma. Hold on tight, K-drama family, because this journey is only just beginning. The world of your favorite celebrities is unfolding before your eyes, and every moment is more breathtaking than the last. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now, because trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. The revelations, the emotions, the moments that will change everything. It happened suddenly. Witnesses say that earlier today, Oat had shown tiny, fragile improvements. His fingers moved. His lips shifted. His breathing grew stronger. For Boat, for the fans, for the world, it was a miracle, a sign that he was slowly, steadily coming back. But in the cold reality of medicine, progress is never guaranteed. And in the late hours of the night, the atmosphere inside that hospital room shifted once again. Monitors began to change their rhythm. Doctors rushed in. Nurses moved quickly, urgently, their calm professionalism replaced with silent fear. Boat, who had been seated at Oat's bedside, clutched his hand as alarms filled the room. And then silence. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of heartbreak. Doctors delivered the news. Oat had relapsed. His body, too fragile to sustain the fight, had retreated once more into coma. For Boat, the moment shattered him. Those present describe him collapsing into the chair, his face buried in Oat's hand, whispering the same words over and over again. "Don't leave me. Please don't leave me." The man who had carried hope like a torch, who had promised the world he would never stop speaking to Oat, suddenly found himself staring into the abyss of silence once again. His tears, raw, unrestrained, echoed through the sterile hospital walls. A friend, speaking in hushed tones outside the ward, admitted, "We thought we were past the worst. We thought the miracle had begun." Watching Boat fall apart like that, it broke us all. And outside those walls, the world felt it too. The vigil that had grown into a movement turned instantly somber. Fans who had been singing began to pray. Those who had been smiling through tears now sobbed openly. Social media lit up once again, but this time with words of shock, grief, disbelief. Hashtags shifted from hope to heartbreak. "Stay with us, Oat," trended globally. "Pray for Oat," surged in multiple languages. Fans across continents began live streams, sitting together in silence, united not in joy, but in grief. But perhaps the most gut-wrenching moment came when video emerged of Boat stepping briefly out of the ward, surrounded by staff. His face pale, his voice trembling, he whispered to cameras. He tried. "He's still fighting. But he's back under. Please don't stop praying." Those words sent a shockwave across the internet. Because even in the darkest moment, Boat did not stop believing. Doctors caution that Oat's condition is critical. The body can only endure so much. Some speak of exhaustion, others of the sheer unpredictability of recovery. But for fans, none of these words ease the pain. What matters to them is the man lying in that hospital bed, the smile they have loved, the voice they have cherished, the bond that has inspired millions. And as candles burn through the night, as vigils swell once again across cities, one truth becomes painfully clear. This is not just a medical battle. It is an emotional war. A war between despair and hope, between silence and survival, between a world unwilling to let go and a fragile body fighting for every moment. The tragedy of tonight is undeniable. Oat Pasakorn, who only hours ago showed signs of a miracle, has slipped back into coma. The joy of yesterday has been replaced by the grief of today. And Boat Yongdiet, the man whose tears, whose devotion, whose love has carried the story, once again finds himself standing at the edge of despair.
But still he holds on.
Still, he refuses to leave Oat's side. Still, he whispers words of love into the silence, words he hopes will carry into whatever corner of Oat's mind still listens. Because sometimes love is strongest when the world is darkest. Boat's heartbreaking vow, a world unites behind him. The night was long. The silence inside the hospital was heavy. But when dawn finally broke, it brought with it something unexpected. Not relief, not resolution, but defiance. Because while doctors spoke of uncertainty, and while the weight of despair hung over the ward like a storm cloud, one man refused to surrender. Boat Yongyet. The cameras had seen him broken before. They had seen him cry, collapse, and whisper words of desperation over Oat's silent body. But when Boat stepped out before the world the next morning, his face still streaked with exhaustion, something had changed. He was no longer the man begging for miracles. He was the man becoming one. In a trembling but steady voice, Boat addressed the fans, the media, the millions of strangers across the globe who had been holding their breath. "I will not give up," he said. His words cracked, but his eyes did not falter. "I will not leave his side. If he cannot fight alone, then I will fight for him. For 1 week. For 1 month. For 1 year. For however long it takes. I will not stop speaking to him. I will not stop loving him. I will not stop believing in him." He paused, his chest rising with a deep, shuddering breath. And then, with tears gathering once more, he whispered the words that broke the world's heart all over again. "If I have to carry him through this storm myself, I will." The moment was broadcast live. It spread like wildfire across Asia, then across the globe. Within hours, those words, Boat's vow, were translated into dozens of languages. Fans called it the promise that shook the world. And then something extraordinary happened. From Seoul to Sao Paulo, from Bangkok to Berlin, from Manila to New York, people gathered. Not in protest, not in anger, but in love. Entire parks filled with fans holding candles, chanting Oat's name, holding banners with Boat's vow written across them. "I will not give up." On social media, musicians posted songs inspired by the moment. Artists sketched portraits of Boat and Oat together, hands clasped. Children in schools were filmed writing letters to Oat, telling him they were waiting for a smile. And as the sun set that evening, something even more powerful unfolded. A global live stream vigil. Millions tuned in. Fans lit candles in their homes. Families knelt in prayer. Messages poured into the chat. Messages of hope, of unity, of love. For hours, the live stream glowed with warmth across screens, connecting strangers from every corner of the earth. It was no longer just about a celebrity. It was about the reminder that love, in its purest form, could unite the world. Inside the hospital, Boat was shown videos of the vigil. Witnesses say he broke down once again, covering his face, whispering thank you over and over, his voice muffled with sobs. And then, wiping his tears, he returned to Oat's bedside, his voice firm once more. "Do you hear them?" he whispered into the silence. "They're waiting for you. We're all waiting for you. You are not alone.
Not now.
Not ever." And with that, he squeezed Oat's hand once more, holding it tightly, as though his grip alone could tether him to the world. Doctors still remain cautious. They warn that Oat's condition is fragile. They speak of long battles, of uncertainty, of time. But beyond the cold language of medicine, something undeniable is happening. This is no longer a private fight. It is a global one. The world has chosen not to let Oat slip quietly into silence. And at the center of it all stands Boat, his heart bruised, his spirit tested, but his vow unshakable. "I will not give up." Those words now echo across continents, across oceans, across millions of souls who have joined in the fight. And so, though Oat lies still, though the battle is far from over, the story continues. Because sometimes, hope does not come from miracles alone. Sometimes, it comes from the voice that refuses to go silent, the love that refuses to let go, the promise that refuses to be broken. And tonight, as candles burn brighter than ever before, one truth remains. Oat is still here. The fight is still alive. And love, through boat, through fans, through an entire world, will not stop. Not now. Not ever.